Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Julie Chrisley says she and husband Todd had to be better when raising Chloe, made sure daughter knew she was a child of color. Julie Chrisley is opening up about the responsibility she felt after adopting her daughter. During the latest episode of Todd and Julie Chrisley's Chrisley Confessions 2.0 podcast, the reality TV personalities talked about their time apart while they were serving prison sentences for their bank fraud and tax evasion convictions. During the conversation, Julie, 52, and Todd, 56, opened up about some of the injustices they witnessed while in prison. The conversation prompted the mom of four to recall a conversation the pair had following the adoption of their daughter Chloe, 12, where they agreed they had to be better and expand their circle so their daughter knew her heritage. Chloe, who is the biological daughter of Todd's son Kyle and his ex Angela Johnson, was legally adopted in 2016, making Todd and Julie her legal parents and the youngest Chrisley sibling. The adoption came amid Kyle's ongoing personal struggles. When we got Chloe, we had to be better, Julie said. We had to make sure that our circle expanded. We had to make sure that Chloe knew she was a child of color. We had to make sure she knew what she came from. In June 2022, Todd and Julie were convicted of bank fraud and tax evasion. A federal judge sentenced Todd to 12 years in prison and 16 months probation, while Julie received 7 years in prison and 16 months probation. The couple reported to prison on January 17, 2023, and roughly 28 months later, President Trump granted them a full pardon. For the past 2.5 years, I've done everything in my power to fight for my parents' freedom and bring them home, their daughter Savannah Chrisley said in a statement. This moment is the answer to countless prayers, and I am beyond grateful to President Trump for seeing the truth and restoring my family. After President Trump announced on Tuesday, May 27, that he was fully pardoning her parents, Savannah shared her younger sister Chloe's reaction to finding out their parents were coming back. Chloe, I think, is still in shock, Savannah shared while appearing on News Nation's On Balance with Leland Vittert. She doesn't want to get her hopes up because she feels like something bad is going to happen. But I'm excited to be going to get my dad and bringing him home to her. We're excited. On the Tuesday, July 8, podcast episode of Unlocked, the Chrisley Knows Best matriarch, who is a mother to sons Grayson, 19, and Chase, 29, and daughters Chloe and Savannah, 27, candidly shared how hard it was being away from her children during her time in prison. She said she prides herself on being a good mother and always being there for my children, so her time away was debilitating. For me, that was one of the most difficult things about being in prison, because I pride myself on being a good mother, she said. I pride myself in always being there for my children, and to have a time where I couldn't be there was, at some point, debilitating. Because I know that Grayson and Chloe, especially, but also you and Chase, even though you're adults, you still need your parents, she added. And I think that's what people need to realize. That when you're being sentenced by these judges, it was very easy to say, oh, there's lots of people that can help them raise their kids. No. Julie Chrisley has always been known for her no-nonsense humor, unwavering devotion to her family, and the way she's fiercely protective of the people she loves. But in a recent, candid conversation, the Chrisley Knows Best matriarch opened up about one of the most personal and important aspects of her life, raising her granddaughter, Chloe. For years, fans of the hit USA Network reality show watched as Chloe, with her infectious laugh and bubbly personality, brightened up the Chrisley home. What many didn't see, however, were the quiet, intentional moments Julie and her husband Todd dedicated to ensuring Chloe grew up with a strong sense of self-worth and cultural awareness. When Todd and I took on the responsibility of raising Chloe, Julie began, her voice warm yet firm. We knew this wasn't just about keeping her fed and clothed. This was about guiding her into adulthood with confidence, pride, and self-respect. And for us, that meant we had to be better. Better listeners, better learners, and better Chloe's biracial heritage meant there were conversations and lessons they simply couldn't ignore. We made sure Chloe knew from the start that she was a child of color, Julie continued. It wasn't something we wanted her to discover later and be confused about. We wanted her to understand it as a beautiful part of who she is. Julie recalled moments in Chloe's early childhood when she would point out similarities between herself and friends who shared her complexion and hair texture. Those moments became natural openings for deeper discussions. We didn't shy away from it, Julie said. If Chloe had a question, we answered it. If she wanted to talk about why her skin looked different from mine, we told her the truth, that God made her exactly the way she's supposed to be, and that's something to celebrate. Todd, known on the show for his over-the-top personality and penchant for dramatic one-liners, approached these conversations with surprising softness. Todd's always been protective of Chloe, Julie smiled. If he could wrap her in bubble wrap until she's 40, he would. But he also understands that part of protecting her is preparing her for the world. And the world, unfortunately, isn't always kind to people who look different. That preparation meant more than just teaching Chloe how to navigate social situations. It meant equipping her with the language to respond to ignorance, the confidence to challenge stereotypes, and the self-love to never doubt her worth. Julie admitted that at times, she and Todd had to confront their own blind spots. We didn't grow up with the same experiences Chloe will have, she said honestly. There were things we didn't know, things we had to learn. We asked questions, we listened, and we made mistakes along the way. But the important thing is, we kept showing up for her. Part of that learning process involved building a diverse community around Chloe. Julie explained how they intentionally sought out environments where Chloe could see other families that looked like hers, as well as mentors and role models who could speak from lived experience. Representation matters, Julie emphasized. We wanted Chloe to know that she wasn't alone, that there are countless people out there who share her heritage, her challenges, and her triumphs. One particularly touching memory Julie shared was the day Chloe came home from school upset because a classmate had made a comment about her hair. She was about 8 years old, and she said, "Nana, why did they say my hair is weird?" I sat her down and told her, "Your hair is a crown. It's not weird, it's wonderful." People comment on things they don't understand, but that doesn't mean you have to change who you are. That conversation stuck with her. And I think it was one of the moments where she really started to embrace her uniqueness. Julie also spoke about the balance between protecting Chloe from the harsher realities of life and preparing her to face them. There's a temptation to shield her from everything, she admitted. But if you never let a child see the world as it really is, they won't know how to handle it when they inevitably do. So we had age-appropriate talks about history, about racism, about kindness, and about standing up for herself. For Julie, raising Chloe has been both a blessing and a responsibility she takes to heart. I think God put Chloe in our lives for a reason, she reflected. She's taught us just as much as we've taught her. We've had to look at things from a different perspective, to think about how our words and actions impact her sense of identity. Todd, for all his larger-than-life personality, shares that sentiment deeply. Julie recounted a moment when he told Chloe before her first school dance, "Baby girl, you walk in there with your head held high, because there's not a soul in that room who can touch the light you carry." Looking back, Julie acknowledges that their journey raising Chloe has been far from perfect, but perfection was never the goal. It's about love, consistency, and honesty, she said. We don't pretend to have all the answers, but we do promise her that she'll never have to face this world without knowing exactly who she is and how loved she is. In the Chrisley household, laughter and banter have always been abundant, but so have the lessons, some loud, some quiet, all deliberate. Julie believes those lessons will serve Chloe well long after she's grown. One day, she'll be out in the world making her own choices, and I want her to hear our voices in the back of her mind reminding her, "You are strong. You are smart. You are beautiful. You are loved, and you matter." As for what she hopes Chloe will take away from her upbringing, Julie doesn't hesitate. I hope she knows that being a child of color is a gift. That it connects her to a rich, vibrant history and a community that spans the globe. And that no matter what anyone says,